Kiana Torres, who is our administrative coordinator, uh, TJ Grays, who is our community development fellow, and Donna Bauer, who is our senior fund development officer. Thank you all again for all of the hard work that you've put in to making sure not just that the people in this room can enjoy the presentation and learn tonight, but also the people who will be logging in remotely. So what will we cover tonight? We will go through Hcdc updates. We will be going through our development review panel presentation, which is also tonight, a development activities meeting. I do want to note that Ose Akinloten is here from City Planning. She will be documenting the feedback for tonight, as again, this is a development activities meeting. And we are really thankful to have her working not just this evening, but Ose has also been staffing the Greater Hill District Master Plan process. And so she's been putting in lots of work. So thank you to Ose for all of her tremendous efforts. So the development activities meeting this evening will be for two developments. Amani Christian Community Development Corporation will be presenting about 2159 Center Avenue, and the Trek Development Team will be presenting on Reed Roberts. So many of you may be familiar with the Reed Roberts site. If you're not, it's right behind the grocery store site. And so there's a development that will be spoken about tonight. We'll give you some updates on New Granada Square, Bedford Choice redevelopment, which will also include some of the developments that you'll hear from Trek. We'll give you an update on the Lower Hill. We'll talk a little bit about registered community organizations and why you should care. And then we'll also talk about some upcoming business programs. So let's move forward. Quick overview. The Hcdc, most of you probably know, is a place-based organization focused on the revitalization and redevelopment of the Hill District neighborhood. We have been in business for 35 years. That's certainly a feat. And we're very proud of the longstanding work that the organization has done. We really are focused on where cultural legacy meets future innovation. And so with that, our mission is to work in partnership with residents and stakeholders to create, promote, and implement strategies and programs to connect plans, policies, and people to drive compelling community development opportunities in the Greater Hill District. We do that in three ways. We focus on people, place, and policy. We build up the people while we build up the place, and we advocate for equitable development policy. And I always say that's what gets us in trouble, but it's good trouble. So you can rest assured that we will be promoting equitable development at every turn on behalf of the Hill District community. So our real estate development work is focused on the commercial corridor, and home ownership, specifically affordable home ownership. We are also, of course, engaged in economic development programs. So we do business and entrepreneurship programs, home ownership preparation, arts, and culture. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, we do advocacy for equitable development and neighborhood planning. So I just talked to you a little bit about some of the team members. We have, as I mentioned, TJ Grays, Ricky Moody, and Chavesha Cheney. So be sure to say hello to them this evening before you leave. So what's going on the real estate front for the Hcdc? And I'm going to be talking quickly because we do have to move forward and get to our development activities meeting. So the New Granada Square project, of course, is a project that we have been working on for quite some time. It's very exciting. It's a 40-unit affordable housing development for artists and creatives. We will have commercial space that will come along with the entire development, the entire block. It's a city block. It's a total of a $60 million project. And it's, of course, the anchor of the commercial corridor. We are also focused on affordable home ownership, as I mentioned. So we currently have 14 projects, 14 properties in particular, that we are focused on rehabilitating and rehabbing. So we acquire vacant, dilapidated properties, we rehab them, and then we sell them at an affordable rate for people who want to become homeowners. Oftentimes, those are Hill District renters. So that's very important because we are focused on ensuring that the people who have endured the toughest times of this community have an opportunity to benefit from the greatest times of this community. So a little more about New Granada Square. So you may have noticed the activity on Center Avenue, and you have a blank slide there. So you may have noticed the early stage development on Center Avenue at New Granada Apartments, New Granada Square Apartments to be specific. So this is an early stage. Of course, you all know these were vacant lots for over 2 decades, right? So we didn't see any development on our commercial corridor for well over 2 decades in our neighborhood. And Hcdc really buckled down, focused on acquiring those lots and bringing a solution to this community that the community could be very proud of. And so we're very proud of bringing these 40 units to the neighborhood, as well as retail space and commercial space that can be leased at an affordable rate to Hill District business owners and Hill District organizations. The current photo that you see now shows the progress. So this is a 4-story building of housing with retail on the first floor. Of course, you see the windows going in on the Wiley Avenue side. All of the windows are in. And on the Center Avenue side, the windows are going in. So we're super excited about this. If you are interested in leasing space at New Granada Square, we've got good news for you. We do have a commercial leasing agent, SVN, and we are excited about that partnership. So if you are interested in leasing space at New Granada Square, we are happy to hear that. And you can sign up through our HD Rising program. So what is HD Rising? So a little bit later, you'll hear about our Hill District 100 program, right? This is the program where maybe 8 years ago now, a private developer was doing a new development in the Hill District. And the question was, why are there no home ownership opportunities for Hill District residents in your development? And the developer responded, we don't think there's a market for home buyers in the Hill District. And I said, okay, this is going to be the very last time that we hear that come back to us as a community. On the spot, we started, or at least conceptualized, the Hill District 100 program. We started with the idea that we were going to demonstrate that 100 people wanted to buy homes in the Hill District, and that the next time a private developer told us in the community that people didn't want to buy homes in the Hill District, we were going to give them a list of 100 people who said that they wanted to buy homes. That list is over 600 now. So we have a list of over 600 people who want to buy homes in this neighborhood. Our biggest challenge now is actually getting the real estate, getting the homes, and getting the land to actually build the homes for those people. So what is HD Rising? HD Rising is the companion program to our home ownership program. So just like we pipelined home buyers, we are now pipelining businesses who want to be in our neighborhood. We are already over 50 businesses who have registered for HD Rising. These are businesses that are opting in. They're saying, I want to be a part of the future of the Hill District. We're down with what you're trying to do here at the Hcdc. Let us in, right? And so the goal is to ensure that there is retail space and affordable commercial space for the people who have registered for HD Rising. Is this list available to other developers who may be building on Center Avenue? Why, of course it is. We're not sure how we'll make that available just yet, but we will consider that. We will also, of course, be putting a number of those businesses primarily into our space at New Granada Square. Okay. Just another picture of the New Granada commercial and retail space. But let me show you the actual finished product. This is what we're going to see in fall of this year. Right, so how exciting that we will be at a ribbon cutting, and we hope that all of you will come. Of fall of this year, probably October or November at the latest, where we will be opening this apartment and retail building. So what is this that you see on the apartment or retail building? We have on the left side and the right side, we have an aesthetic that resembles and reflects the African-American cultural legacy of quilting in our community. So that's what the left and the right bays represent. In the middle, we have a pattern that means life is a step, right? So after I had come back from Ghana, Kumasi, Ghana, we had gone to a kente cloth factory and, learned all of these different prints. I was like really excited about that because for a long time I wanted to incorporate the African aesthetic in the African-American built environment. So that middle pattern is a pattern that means life is a step. And I said that is so appropriate for our neighborhood because our neighborhood has really gradually evolved over the years, and its development has truly been a journey and a step. So if you are interested in I don't think that's charged. Okay. If you are interested in leasing space at the apartments, okay? So we just talked about the commercial, and the leasing agent there is SVN, and you can register at hilldistrict.org/HD Rising, okay? That's our commercial broker. So that means that the retail space on the first floor will be leased by that body. Now, if you are interested in residential space at this development, our management agent is our co-developer, and that's CHN Housing, okay? CHN Housing Partners, and they've been a great partner. So the New Granada Apartments, you can find more information about this at the same link at hilldistrict.org/New Granada Square. But I do encourage you to go on ahead and submit because these apartments are not going to last. I'm sure you can imagine that they are extremely convenient. They're right on the bus line. They will be in walking distance to our new grocery store and all of the new development that's coming along Center Avenue. So please do not delay. There is a QR code. I believe there's one on the banners also on site. And if not, of course, you know our office is at 2015 Center Avenue on the second floor. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about New Granada Apartments workforce, the recruitment. We have been very aggressive in what we call our workforce development as well as our MBE maximization program. Okay. We have both intentionally and consistently emphasized to our contractor the need to ensure MBE contractors as well as a Black workforce, right? And making sure that people from this neighborhood have opportunity. And so we just share with you some of the information here. I'm not going to go through all of the different details, but I'm happy to do that offline. We're very proud of our MBE participation numbers that are well over our master plan goals. And so we partner with private developers, just so you all know, through our MBE maximization program, which is really focused on ensuring that that people from this neighborhood who have businesses and also MBEs have maximum opportunity to participate. Okay. So this is just a quick shot of New Granada Square. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. But let me just run through this for you. So you have the historic theater, which anchors the entire development. You have the housing to the right that flanks the development, and to the left, you have New Granada offices. So what is on the first floor? You have a cafe. This is the historic building. You have a cafe, and you have a black box theater that will seat approximately 120 people. This is accessible community space, right? That doesn't happen in new developments often. Oftentimes, new developments do the exact opposite, where they displace by way of not making sure that the rents are affordable or accessible. And so we are super excited to be ensuring that we have affordable space that is accessible to the community, as well as a cafe that's going to be in the historic building. The second floor. The second floor will be flexible event space, okay? So this will be for corporate events, TED Talks, business conferences, possibly large-scale weddings for those of you who, really want to do it up. At the end of the day, though, this is going to be a space that can host over 900 people. So that is national acts for sure. That's local acts. And this fosters a 16-hour environment for our neighborhood. And that's very important because we have people who come to the neighborhood for work, but we don't want them to leave at 5. We want to capture the economic boom that can come to our neighborhood from people who are working in our neighborhood. And so we're very excited about the potential there. On the third floor, we have the University of Pittsburgh Community Engagement Center. All right. The University of Pittsburgh Community Engagement Center is leasing 20,000 square feet from the New Granada Square development. So 10,000 square feet in the historic building, 10,000. We just lost our charge here. So I'm going to continue to hold on for 1 second. Brad, do you can you pause? Or no, it's still on. Just let people know. All righty. So we're going to jump back in, and I'm going to cut us a lot shorter than we were going to be so that you can hear from the developers tonight. I was telling you about the event space at New Granada and letting you know that the Pitt Community Engagement Center, it will be moving from the Blakey Center where they are now over to the historic New Granada building, and they will be taking 20,000 square feet in the historic building. They will be taking 10, and then in the new office building, they will be taking 10,000 square feet. Okay, so there we will have the Center for African American Poetry and Poetics. We will have the Jazz Center. We will have the Institute for Entrepreneurial Excellence for small businesses who need support. We will have STEAM programming and digital inclusion, lecture spaces. It is going to be fantastic. The new office building will have, of course, another 10,000 square feet of space, and there will be space for entrepreneurs. There will be space for other programming and other people who, and businesses who are interested in leasing commercial space. There will be a food hall, and we will have foods of the African diaspora. So we're really excited about that. That's Caribbean food, that's soul food, that's, that's all of the foods that we love. So look forward to that. And let's move forward. There will be a rooftop venue. Shout out to Reverend Grayson and the Grayson Center for bringing rooftop space. The Y has rooftop space, and we'll be bringing a rooftop space venue to the Hill District as well, which is really exciting. So I'm going to move through programs and just let you know that we will have 2 cohorts coming up. We will have our small business cohort focused on food, because we are going to have a lot of food businesses coming to the Hill District. We have the food hall coming. We have a restaurant coming. So we're having 2 food. We're going to have a food cohort, and we're going to have a tech cohort. Okay, so our food cohort is called Hill's Kitchen. And then our tech cohort is called Hill Tech Society. All right, so please get with Shavasha Cheney to talk about the programs. And she will be sure to let you know. We've been doing a ton of programs. We serve over 130 entrepreneurs a year. You all probably know that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but you can check these slides out. We have been really focused on building up our entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Hill District for years, and we're really excited about that progress. All right. You all probably remember our Workforce Wednesdays. They happen every 3rd Wednesday. We also have small business cohort training where you can sign up on our website at hilldistrict.org. Go on ahead and sign up and get you some one-on-one support. It's really important that you have that one-on-one time. We have a number of partners. And last but certainly not least is our Operation Home Workshop. This is for people who want to become home buyers and who may not know how to get into a home. So Operation Home happens once a month. You can register at hilldistrict.org/HD100, and you can register now for our May 21st event. Okay, that does happen monthly, but don't delay because prices are increasing every day when it comes to housing. If you want to engage, be sure to sign up for our Hill District Weekend Roundup, where you can get a roundup every weekend of what's happened in the Hill District at hilldistrict.org/sign up. Please share that, text it. It's a great way to stay in communication and up to date on what's happening in the Hill District. All right. So I am going to move past the RCO process. Well, we probably need to do that, Osei, in order to do the development activities meeting. Is that right? So let me have Ricky come up and do that. And once Ricky finishes that, we're going to move directly into the presentations. All right, Ricky Moody, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have some questions coming to the Hcdc regarding what is an RCO and who are the RCOs, and some of these questions are actually coming from the developers and the community members. So I wanted to clarify here what registered community organizations are. They were created from an ordinance, and it's a newer regulatory process passed in 2018. It created RCO status for community-based organizations, and those responsibilities are to review development coming through. A developer is required to hold a dam, which we have here, at least 30 days prior to public hearing. Well, this is not that, but excuse me, prior to a public hearing for a list of qualifying reasons. And these reasons include a review by the Planning Commission, Zoning Board of Adjustments, and Historic Review Commission. The Hcdc is a RCO for the Greater Hill District. The projects today are included in the geographic boundary, which make this a development activities meeting. We have 5 different RCOs. We have the Collaborative, Hill District Collaborative, Shenley Heights, us, the Hcdc, Hill District Consensus, and Uptown Partners. So on our DRP, our Development Review Panel, we actually have 2 members right now, which include Uptown Partners and the Hill District Consensus Group. So RCO in the Hill District, the ordinance requires the RCO to establish, and this is verbatim, orderly and democratic means for forming representative public input, and is our clear method for reporting to the city actions which accurately reflect the community's position. So this is reflected via our DRP process. So DRP is our voice, and that's where we're democratic in our means of forming the representation from the public. It's important to note that the DRP reviews all projects that are going to be coming forth, and they reviewed the 2 projects that are coming forth to be reviewed today. So there are some impacts right now. A lot of people are confused because, and when I say people in particular, developers have been calling because they don't know who to speak to before they have to present to a dam if they need to. Overlapping boundaries lead to city planning review and deciding upon development, which actually will weaken some processes because of developers have to go through different RCOs, and right now there's not a streamlined process. That does lead to confusion, even though we've been having some recent conversations to try to come up with a unified approach for all RCOs in the Hill District to actually review upcoming projects. And you know, a lot of people are talking about what RCOs are versus what they're not, and is leading to miscommunication and misinformation. So I did want to touch upon this subject here for the community a little bit. And I'm going to pass the mic back to Marimba. We are going to touch on the Lower Hill.
Relative to the Lower Hill, really quickly, you all know that the LRTA is a fund that was established. The LRTA is a fund that was established, especially differently in the Hill District, where the Hill CDC, as a result of a lawsuit that was filed in 2015, was able to secure a LRTA fund for the Hill District neighborhood. That LRTA fund is housed at the Urban Redevelopment Authority. It is enabled through legislation that where the city, the county, and the school board can contribute to essentially a development fund in order to ensure that development can be subsidized. And in this particular case, development will happen on the Lower Hill District, and the fund will fund the Middle Hill District and the Upper Hill District. So half of the fund is supposed to go back to the Middle Hill District, to the Lower Hill District, and the Lower Hill Development Team. Originally, that fund was supposed to be held at the Urban Redevelopment Authority, but the Lower Hill Development Team in 2019 was able to renegotiate, again, the terms of the LRTA fund. So they have reclaimed the LRTA that was supposed to go towards infrastructure on the Lower Hill as a part of their capital stack, okay? The LRTA that's supposed to go to the Middle and Upper Hill District is in a fund that is housed at the Urban Redevelopment Authority. The fund is not housed at the Hill CDC. The fund is not controlled by the Hill CDC. I know that there's a lot of misinformation out there about where the fund is, what's happening with the fund. The fund is at the URA, okay? Now, the fund is controlled by an advisory committee that meets monthly, and that advisory committee is currently focused on creating an allocation plan on how those funds will be spent. The CDC did provide recommendations based on prior communication with the community. Many of you participated in that process. We have provided that to the advisory committee, and we have provided that to the URA, all right? With that, they can then determine whether or not they want to utilize that allocation committee, the allocation plan that was provided, or if they want to come up with something completely different. And what we have as of now is they want to come up with a new allocation plan. So that's the delay right now with the fund, is that the allocation plan is still being created. Okay, now RB Bankston is working with Councilman Lavelle to establish that allocation plan. So feel free to reach out to them to discuss that. Now, what is in the fund? $7.187 million was deposited into the fund when Block G1 was approved. Block G1 and Block G4 for the Lower Hill. That's what was deposited. Those funds were advanced through FMB. okay, and the developer. However, it was supposed to be $7.5 million. Okay, if you go back and look at all of the press releases, all of the communication that went out to the community when approvals were being sought and community support was being secured, the promise was that the community would get $7.5 million. What we ended up getting was $7.187 million. So we still want our $313,000. Buccini Proland Group said that they were going to do it by way of email to Councilman Lavelle, that they were going to pay it once they secured their occupancy permit. So you know that the building is under construction. We will see if that comes through, but we will be anxiously awaiting the balance of those funds. Okay. Meetings and the process are staffed by the Urban Redevelopment Authority. It's important, again, to know that. I know a lot of people have been very anxious and interested in the LRTA fund that the Hill CDC secured back in 2015. However, it's very important to know, again, that all of those meetings are public. Those meetings are staffed by the URA and not the Hill CDC, and the advisory committee was appointed when the community collaboration and implementation plan, which is our community benefits agreement, was signed. Okay. So, a quick update on Block E. Block E is the forthcoming development for the Lower Hill. All right. So, what was developed before Block E? Block G1 and Block G4, which you don't see on this map, because at the time Block G4 wasn't really conceived of, at least not in the same way. Okay, so Block G1 is under development. That's the F&B tower. Block G4 is the open public space, green space. Okay, Block E is what the Lower Hill development team is planning to now move forward on. They have, as of last week, notified us that they plan to notify the Urban Redevelopment Authority and the Sports and Exhibition Authority to do a second takedown. What does that mean? When a developer has rights, as they do on the Lower Hill District, they have to do an initial takedown, which is, hey, URA or SCA, we're planning to move forward at some point in the future. And then when the development is imminent, they go back and they say, now we're really serious. We have our financing, we have our plan, we're really ready to move forward. We are now moving forward on a second takedown request. As of last week, our understanding was that they would be submitting that on Friday, which means that the development is imminent. Now, what does that mean? That means that a notification will probably go to the URA, a notification will go to the SEA, and city planning has probably had a pre-application meeting with the developer to understand what the scope of this particular development is. And this is very important because we are still looking to get a reinvestment plan that is signed by the developer with the Hill District community. Okay. Now, we did not get that on Block G1. We didn't have a signed community reinvestment plan for Block G1. We had some promises, we had some commitments, we had some proposals, but we did not secure a signed agreement. Okay. Now, Block E, we don't even have a proposal for what the community benefits are going to be, right? We have the knowledge that these are the things that will be there. Let me move here and come back. Excuse me. We will have an entertainment venue and parking. There will also be some square footage for catapult in the front of the theater and emergency and public safety parking on Block E. Okay. What we are saying is that we want for BPG to reengage the DRP, of course. They had already submitted to the DRP. For those of you who don't know, the development review panel is a two-part process. First, the developer submits to a panel of residents. It's a 9-panel organization. It's a 9-organization panel, all residents. They review it, align it with a master plan. If it scores 80% or above, it gets advanced to a community meeting where each and every Hill District resident has a chance to vote. Hence, you see the ballot box tonight. This process has been in place now for well over 3.5 years, okay? So we have asked BPG to re-engage. They've already submitted their first step, and they passed that first step, but that was over 2 years ago. We are looking for an update. We want to make sure the plan hasn't changed. If it has changed, we still want to know what the reinvestment plan is for Block E. Okay. We also need to understand the updates and the requirements. You all may not remember this, but it's very important. When Block G, the F&B Tower, was approved, city planning passed down 6 requirements for the developer. 6. They said, before you come back to us again, you need to do these 6 things. Okay? One of those was that they needed to make some revisions to their total plan, what's called a preliminary land development plan. Right? That requires a community process. That has not happened yet. I expect that that will be imminent. I know Craig Dunham is here. He may be able to speak to that. Okay? That's one of the things. The other thing is the City Planning Commission did err on the side of the community and said, we hear your presentations, we see your videos, but we need to see more from you as a developer the next time you come and show us how you are aligned with the Community Benefits Agreement, also known as the CSIP. That's another one of the requirements. So that is why we are pushing for that reinvestment plan to be in place now before it even gets to the City Planning Commission again. Now, the City Planning Commission, certain will receive whatever is submitted. That is their role. But it will be our job and our responsibility to make sure that there is a reinvestment strategy for our neighborhood. Okay? At the end. So, we also have been asking Councilman Lavelle to confirm the status of the legislation for a parking tax diversion for Block E. Now, the parking tax diversion it was determined back in October of 2019, if not before then. Now, what does that mean? That means that for 25% of the cars that are parked, the funding will go into a housing stabilization fund for Block E. And that's great. I want to lift that up and say that's fantastic. That is public money. That's your money. That's public money. Okay? That is going to come back into a housing stabilization fund that will be housed at a place unknown at this stage, but I presume the URA. Okay? Here's what I need us to be really, really sharp about. The Housing Stabilization Fund was promised as a community benefit for Block G1. Y'all following me? Yes? No? Okay. So if it was promised for a reinvestment for Block G1, we can't count it twice. It can't also be the reinvestment for Block E. Okay? So we just need to be aware that because it is associated with Block E, that it, in this particular case, was given for Block G1. So I just want to make sure everybody is on the same page there, and that the marketing that happens oftentimes when we are in moments like this doesn't overtake our community and we start to think that we're getting things that we're not. And I want to give credit where credit is due, right? Like there are some great things that have happened, but there's not been the scale that we would expect or need in our community for a development that is going to exceed $1.5 billion in scale. Okay. All right. Last but certainly not least, one of the conditions of the URA was that the Buccini Polling Group and the Lower Hill Development Team, including the Penns, work in collaboration with the Hcdc to support the New Granada development. I can tell you that has not happened at all, right? And so, although we are clearly vested in the New Granada, I am, as a community resident, strident in my belief that to bring another entertainment venue to our neighborhood without supporting the efforts of redeveloping the historic New Granada Theater is inequitable in every way, right? And so we will be looking for some feedback from the Penns and the Buccini Polling Group and all of the partners on the Lower Hill District relative to the New Granada. We will also make some additional outreach, although we have done that. Okay. Sure. Go ahead. You can make a comment. Not right now, because we need to get onto the dam. Mhm. No, we're not because well, let's do this then. Hold on. We will take your comments. We will not do it right now. We will take your comments. But we presented more than that. No, we're not going to go through the DRP process, but we are going to complete the dam and we will have comments at the end.
But you just presented all of this information on the lower hill.
And other things.
And point by point by point. Mm-hmm. And layered them into the lower hill. And you provided a ton of misinformation. Remember, it's not accurate.
Okay.
And so it's only fair. One, Craig is here. I'm here.
And you will have an opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting. Mm-hmm.
So I think that the Hill District community deserves proper information.
And they can get it at the end of the meeting.
But it should be right now.
But it's not, Kim. And I would appreciate, thank you. Kim.
This is the problem. This is the problem. And this is why when she says community, I want everybody to be very clear. The Hill CDC does not represent the whole community. That's why there are other RCOs. That's why there are other.
Hold on. Kim is an employee of the developer for the Lower Hill. No, it's cool.
What is the time for question and answer?
Enough if we can get to it. Well, as soon as we finish Trex development and Reverend Wall's development plan. Kimberly, with all due respect, yeah, you will be able to finish them. No, you will be able to, Kim, at the end of the meeting. You can at the end of the meeting. You can at the end of the meeting. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So with no further ado, I apologize for the interruption, but let us move on. Kimberly, who is an employee of Buccini Polling Group for the Lower Hill, and Craig Dunham, who is their consultant, is a planner for the Lower Hill development team, and we will absolutely allow people to respond to comments at the end of the meeting. Now, with that said, we are going to move forward to our development review panel portion of the meeting, as well as the development activities portion of the meeting. And I do want to thank our developers who are here this evening with our technical challenges earlier. We certainly appreciate your patience. All right, so keep in mind, you will be able to score tonight. So if you are a Hill District resident, this is your opportunity to score. This is your opportunity to score two projects, 2159 Center Avenue and Reed Roberts, okay? There is room for written commentary on your scorecard, all right? There's room for written commentary on your scorecard. If you are a resident, if you are not a resident, we, again, do work on an honor system, so please do not score, all right? You will be able to view this, this presentation that you are viewing now, right? Those of you who are viewing the meeting live, you will be able to score until May 5th. We will provide a link. Well, actually, the link is there, hilldistrict.org/score. You will be able to score there, all right? And so with no further ado, I am going to introduce Addie Cullen of Trek Development. And is it Alexis? Okay, why don't you introduce the team, Alexis? Sure. This. No, it's okay. Okay. Excuse me.
Does not have to have a collaborative meeting tonight, only the Reed Roberts site, because it was a application that came in after the March 3rd initiation of the latter two community organizations of the Hill District Collaborative, acknowledging them at this table here. Welcome. And then the Hill District Consensus Group, who I will mention is virtual tonight. So Carol Hardiman, acknowledging you on Facebook Live. So I do have an email which can be referenced later for the applicants here. So ensuring that we had that prior to this meeting so that there is no confusion. I will have a virtual copy for anyone. It will be available on the Development Activities website, as well as made available to all of your registered community organizations after this meeting. If you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. I do have cards available, and you have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Osa. I appreciate that. All right, so let's jump in. This is a collaborative development activities meeting with the Hill CDC, Hill District Consensus Group, and the Hill District Collaborative.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Narotsky. I work for the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh, and I'm here to talk about Reed Roberts site, which will be Bedford Dwellings Phase 1. A bit of a timeline overview. ARMDC, which is our development instrumentality under HACP, along with TREC, submitted our proposal to the DRP for review. We passed in January with the score of 82%. So just moving along a little bit. The current team members for the project, like I said, HACP, along with ARMDC, which is under HACP. It's our development instrumentality. We also competitively procured TREC Development Group, as well as WRT, the architects, M. Robinson Consulting Group, Gateway Engineers, Cosmos, Scheffler, and La Quattro Bonci. So with that, just wanted to provide just the broad level overview, because you've probably heard a lot about Bedford Choice as well. So Reed Roberts, which is located at Reed and Roberts, I think most of you know where that is actually the first phase of the new development for overall Bedford Dwellings. It will be 1-for-1 replacement of the lower portion of Bedford Dwellings. So if you're familiar with the site, everything at the Hope Center going towards the city, that's what the replacement units will be for. We'll have an additional 25% market rate units, which brings us to about 125 units total. And we will be trying to use a twinning strategy, which is 9% and 4% low-income housing tax credits with PHFA. So with that, I'm going over just some of the amenities, and most of you are familiar with this, but this is actually very close to the grocery store and a lot of the amenities along Center Avenue. So we're really excited for our residents, because I think it'll be great for them to be so close to shopping and services. I am going to introduce the TREC team as well, because I think it's some of their turn. So I will introduce Mr. Bill Gaddy. He, Mamadou's next? Okay, I guess I'm introducing Mamadou Balde, part of our team.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexis. Good evening, everybody. Oops. So just do this next one. Okay, sure. I'm getting right to that. My name is Mamadou Balde. I'm the owner of Fulani Development Group, and I am a partner on this project with TREC Development, as Alexis mentioned. So as part of our resident engagement events, we did a focus group in the fall of last year, where we met with Bedford Dwelling and the Dinwiddie residents, did a charrette, and you can see a list of what we heard in those charrettes. what the community wanted: playgrounds, front porches, backyards, balconies, accessibility, and some storage, among other things. So I'm going to introduce Bill Gaddy with Trek Development.
Thanks, Tom. I think our slides are a little out of order there, but I'll do the best I can here. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Gaddy from Trek Development Group. As some of the earlier speakers mentioned, this is part of a much bigger effort to redevelop all of Bedford dwellings in a program called Choice. And that is sponsored by the Housing Authority. And that's who Alexis is here representing. This is the first step towards that choice redevelopment, which is development of phase one, which is off-site from Bedford dwellings and at the corner of Reed and Roberts Street. And this is showing the aerial view. And it sounds like there's a little bit of confusion around the process. So we've gone through the DRP process and received a passing grade. This is part two of that, which is the broader community meeting, but it also seems to be kind of doubling as a DAM meeting, a development activities meeting, but maybe not. So I guess all I'd say to that is that we've met with the Hill District Consensus Group many times and with the Hill Collaborative, and we're happy to meet as many times as they want to go over this process, because we're really excited about this and happy to be moving forward with something. So if we receive a favorable grade tonight, we will proceed with this redevelopment effort. And this is the site. You may recognize this. Here's some housing we did up and down Dinwiddie Street over the last 10 years. Up here on Reed Street, we did these units. We did a portion of the Miller School. I know I saw Derek Tillman here. He owns the other half of the Miller School. There's some redevelopment planned over there. We always thought this was a great site for redevelopment. It was former Reed and Roberts site that was torn down, and it was purchased in 2009. So this is our attempt to redevelop that. So we have, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see. We have our architects on the line who are going to try to present the site plan if you can hear them. And if that doesn't work, we'll wing it, but thank you. WRT, are you here? Yeah.
How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me?
He's going to put you on the speaker. Say something, David.
Not a problem. Good evening, everyone. How are you?
It was at 34. I put it at 48. Can you move back for a second? Sure. David, can you hear?
I can still hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Give it a shot, Joe. All right, we're going to go off book here, and I'm going to try. We have a backup plan. Joe Hackett here is going to present the site plan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Hackett. I'm with LaQuatre Bonsi Associates. We're landscape architects. Sorry? Is this on? Can you hear me now? It's Joe Hackett with LaQuatre Bonsi Associates. We are landscape architects, part of the design team with Trek. No. Well, let's get to that in a second. Let me just get through a couple of these slides, and I can get to any of your questions. Yeah, I think we got the small pictures, but not the big one. I think it was 65, yeah.
You're here.
All right, we're here. Can you back up? Is that possible? Can you back up and slide? Back up the slides, not you back up. All right. All right, so if you remember the slide that Bill just showed, it was an aerial view of the whole property. What this is a quick diagram explaining what we all know, which is that the Reed Roberts site is really, really steep. From the lowest spot to the highest spot is about 80 feet of grade change. That's excessive, even for Pittsburgh, and that's probably why they call it the Hill District. What you see here is the site plan. So again, I'm going to move over here so I can see. This is Reed Street. This is Miller here. This is Caldwell down here. And you have Dinwiddie over on the right. The colored boxes are new buildings. So about 125 new apartments in about 13 buildings. So there are 3-unit buildings, smaller buildings up along Reed Street and Heldman, then some larger buildings in the middle of the site where the former Reed Roberts buildings were, and then some smaller buildings going down Miller Street toward Caldwell, trying to get buildings that fit into those streets. So when you're on Miller, all the buildings aren't real tall. So we're thinking about smaller buildings there. When you're up on Reed and Heldman, most of the buildings there are 2 to 3 to 4 stories. So that's why we have those kind of buildings there. When you're in the middle of the site, you're on the top of the hill, you have a great view, 360 degrees all the way around. Great place for a taller building so folks on the upper floors can take advantage of that view. So that's why there's different buildings in different places. Basically, there's about 125 new apartments. So again, this is a little model. If you were flying over Robert Street, looking back, what you see is Dinwiddie up to the left, and you got Miller Street to the right. So again, 3-story buildings along Reed Street, smaller 3-story buildings along Miller Street, smaller 3-story buildings along Reed, and then larger buildings in the middle of the site. This is a view if you're standing on Reed Street looking in. What you see the two taller buildings. So one is a senior building and one is a multifamily, traditional apartment building. These 2 buildings fill the upper site, but right along Reed Street is going to be a new green space, a public green space. Anybody who lives in the neighborhood can walk there, or folks who live in these apartments can walk down and hang out in the green space as well. These are different floor plans of what these buildings might look like. So there's a 3-story building with 1 apartment on the ground floor, and then there's 2 apartments above it. So it looks like a duplex from the outside. It looks a little smaller, so it fits in the neighborhood, but there's actually 3 units in it. Where's the plumbing? in the walls. Where's it going to run to? Down the walls, through the pipes. It's not going to Dinwiddie. No, it's going out to Miller Street. They're all going to have plumbing, and there's public sewers in the streets. There are public sewers. There are public sewers in the streets where all these will connect to. Why don't we jump to the next one, Bill? It's not going to Dinwiddie. It's not. There's public water and sewer to every street. Because we're not there.
He's going to you can answer questions at the end. He's going to give you a session. Okay?
We are getting to the infrastructure. I will explain that. If I don't answer your question, you can ask me afterwards. So what you see here is a plan of the buildings that are on the top of the hill. So again, this is the apartment building here. This is the senior building here, and the green space that faces Reed Street. On the lowest level of the building, on the ground floor, is going to be parking, and then all the apartments are above that. So the building will actually screen and obscure the parking, so you won't see the parking if you're walking along the street. But all the apartments will be above. So anyone who lives there basically has a covered parking space. Go up the stairs, up the elevator to your apartment. This is the second floor. There's a mixture of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. The same for the third and fourth floors. Typical apartments. That's a 1 bedroom apartment on the left side and a 2 bedroom apartment on the right side. You want to help me with the sustainability? I'm not sure about all that.
This is one of our core values, the green features of the building. It's important to the housing authority, important to us, important to the residents. So this is just a highlight of the green, environmentally friendly features that are in the building. This is a slide just depicting the green spaces that Joe referred to in the front. The front here, and a more private green space in the back, a large community space in the front as well. This is some images of just how we envision this green space coming together and being utilized. As you can see, some more active playground type spaces, others more passive, just green areas just to be in. These are the views from the site. It's probably one of the best features of the site, is the views up and down the Mon River Valley, towards Duquesne there, towards downtown. So one of the important aspects of the Hill District Master Plan is a celebration of the past, and particularly the cultural legacy. We're making a big investment in the community spaces, and I have Montia Dinkins here with us tonight. She used to be with Trek, but now she's gone on her own. We're proud of her, and we've been collaborating with Montia and with I saw some Bedford residents here through the Bedford Connect process to really figure out how to celebrate the cultural legacy in a meaningful way, and that's what this slide is depicting in our community public gathering spaces. This is a time frame. We're here now in 2022. We've completed this development review panel. If we answer everyone's questions tonight, whoever has questions or after, we're intending to seek financing this summer. If we're successful in securing financing, we'll begin construction in the first quarter of 2023. Complete construction in 2024, begin lease up activity late 2024, and delivery of units in 2025. That's the basic time frame. I have a few slides here at the end that I don't want to just read, but I'll just highlight. These were our guideposts for how we approached this redevelopment, and these are right out of the Hill District Master Plan. the highlighted sections address historical wrongs, reflect neighborhood-driven civic design, utilize neighborhood strengths and assets, non-displacement strategies, and then there's 3 more: promote a green and healthy environment, renter support, and preserving affordability. And as you can see from these slides, we have multiple strategies under each category that we went over with the development review panel in detail. But sounds like you have a pretty thick agenda tonight, so I'm thinking I should truncate that and just go to any questions that you may have at this point. So Bonnie, yes. Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I would love that. Sounds great. I'd love to collaborate. She asked if Hill District residents, artist residents, would have an opportunity to collaborate and consider public art in our common spaces. And the answer is yes. Yes. Are there? Was there 4? Just 3. 1s, 2s, and 3s. No 4. Yes, the Housing Authority is committed to moving forward with this development with or without choice implementation dollars, which will be sought later this year. Yes, Ms. Bogus.
I do want to, I'm making comment. I do want to thank you, Alexis and Tia, for the right presentation up there, because as a resident that's working on this here, Reed and Robert, for residents coming out of Bedford that will be moving to Reed and Robert, we had plenty discussion, and we told them that how we wanted to see that site done. The big issue now, and I hope we can get to that, is transportation on to Reed and Robert. So that's the issue that we're working with. But the presentation that they presented to you tonight is all the changes that we as residents, I don't remember seeing you, but that other architect, wherever
he's a stand-in.
Yeah. I just wanted you to know that there's been a lot of discussion on that Reed and Robert, a whole bunch, and the view is not our first priority, because the way we feel about it, we got a huge view up there on Bedford Avenue. We can look all over the city.
Yes, Ms. Bogus has been a tireless collaborator for years now, frankly, so thank you.
Oh, I don't need this mic. Hi. How are you I see that you're gonna put the parking underneath the building, but how are you gonna accommodate for more parking, such as like family gatherings and stuff like that? Because I currently live on that spot and the parking is already a problem. And I see that you're also adding houses down Reed Street, which that's a very steep hill. So how are you is there gonna be a garage underneath the current? Like, I know you're having parking underneath the building, but would there be like a garage underneath, or will there be a solution for more parking? Because that's a concern that I have.
It's a and their visitors. However, we're in terms of the residents, just want to add there, it's a good question. We have a lot more parking per unit than currently exists at Bedford. I think that's 20. Right. I'm sorry. What I'm saying is in terms of the number of cars we expect residents to have, it's more typically like 25%. And I believe we have 95 spots, so more like 75% of the space per unit. So we expect to have ample parking for the residents and their visitors. Yes.
There's another building that's similar to how you're describing it, and they often still have to use the outside parking because
Yeah.
that's what they have to do. So just a suggestion, I don't know if you'll take it, that's none of my business at that point, but something underneath the present inside building garage, like a underneath garage or something with more spacing or parking for people who have relatives over, and might not just be a small amount, it may be a greater amount. That could really help out the residents that are already living on the street, because that is a current problem already.
You live on Reed Street?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
I grew up on that site, and we had, we used to use the ramps from different buildings as goals for like soccer and different sports like that. But one thing that I don't see here that we had a hoop court in the back. It was kind of like where F building is. Is there a way you can incorporate something like a hoop court there for the kids to play basketball?
Well, we talked about that a lot, and given the units that we're trying to replace in this first phase, there's many older residents in the early phase, and it wasn't an appropriate amenity for the population that we're trying to serve. It was older folks, and there's just not enough room for a basketball court there. Though we did talk about it.
So
a lot.
we had a half basketball, so it wasn't a full two hoops. It was just like maybe even a
Half
quarter of.
I remember
court.
it.
Yeah.
George Mao.
Right. Yeah. So we ain't had no net, but but yeah, it would be nice to be able to work in something like a hoop court, because it's recreational. All you need is a basketball. You can go spend the day. That's where I learned how to play. And a lot of people, from the hill, from the lower hill, we used to see, like, now when people say the lower hill, they think you're talking about the lower 28.
Yeah.
But Reed and Roberts and like Miller, and that was the lower hill, because when the Civic Arena was built and they displaced a lot of people, we didn't even really think of that as much as it incorporated with us. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, something like a basketball court or some type of outdoor recreation setup where all you need is a ball or something and you can have fun, that would be good for that site.
Thanks for that comment. As Ms. Bogus said, we went through a lot of resident focus groups, but we can revisit that issue and see if there's interest. But thank you for that information and the story. Okay, I'm getting the hook, so thank you all.
All right, community, it's time to vote. So please get your scorecard for the Reed Roberts project, Hill District residents. You should have picked your scorecard up at the registration table. If you didn't get your scorecard, please raise your hand and fill your scorecard out. So 1 is the highest that you can give a project on this scorecard, and 5 is the least. Okay, so please fill your scorecard up, fold it up for privacy, and put it in the ballot box on your way out. We ask you to do it now just so that you don't forget the details of the presentation you just heard. All right. If you'd like to hand in your ballot early, feel free to raise your hand and someone will come and get it for the ballot box. With no further ado, I would like to introduce Reverend Walls and his colleague from the Amani Christian Community Development Corporation, who is going to be proposing a project for Center Avenue, which is super exciting. So come on up, Reverend Walls.
Thank you, Marimba. Step into the camera. Oh, okay, we can do that. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see everyone out on the first community meeting and in-person community meeting that we've had in quite some time. So we're excited to be here with you. In 2019, July 2019, the Urban Redevelopment Authority released a request for qualifications for developers to develop Center Avenue. Several organizations, nonprofits and for-profits sent in their proposals for various parcels that the URA owned along Center Avenue. Amani Christian Community Development Corporation also submitted a proposal for the site that we're going to show you tonight, which is 2159 Center Avenue. It sits between the Compass Building and the Hill District Library. Yeah, let's go. Yes, keep going. So first I want to introduce our development team. To my left is Mr. Jim Palmer. Jim has been on our staff for about the last 6 months. He does our real estate and project management. In the middle there is Renee Atkins. She is our communications and community engagement person. Mr. Dan Schaefer is our fundraisers. Mr. Ellis Landry is our real estate coordinator. Who we got there? Oh, Alex Jayden Perk is an intern from the University of Pittsburgh, and he is assisting Renee with our website, which is www.amanipgh.org. And to the right is our consultant for this project and several other projects that we have going on presently, Mr. Encore Dobrial, and he's out in Zoom land with us on tonight. So we want to welcome those out who are on either Zoom or the Facebook platform tonight to look at our project. We began our project by recognizing, because we are a faith-based community development organization, and we operate out of a sense of commitment to the least of these. And so as God guides us, we reach out to make opportunities available both for sale and especially affordable rentals for those who may be left out or living in difficult situations as far as renting. And so Matthew 25 verses 31 through 45 guides us. And to abbreviate those scriptures, it talks about the least of these, the most vulnerable, those who are living at or below the poverty level, those who have children living at the least of, or I guess I should say, at or the below the poverty level. So recognizing that not only the city of Pittsburgh, but the state, and this is taken from the Housing Alliance April 21st press release, that Pennsylvania is among the most severely affected states with only 39 affordable homes available for every 100 people that need them. That's a tragedy. It's a travesty that we live in these contemporary times, and almost 61 people are in need of affordable housing. And so Pennsylvania, like Pittsburgh, is struggling to meet these challenges. We're all so much aware of them. And so in our own small way here in the Hill District of Pittsburgh, we want to make a contribution to providing affordable rental housing for our residents. And so Pennsylvania faces a shortage of almost 220,000 affordable and available homes. And these are for people who are living 50% or below area median income, AMI. So 25% of these households are severely cost burdened. And so as our team looked at how to develop this particular project, we took that into consideration. And so what we're going to show you tonight is the project itself. I'm looking for my, oh. Thank you. And so this is our, can't see that yet because, but anyway, let's do it this way. This is our project footprint. This would be the Carnegie Library, and this would be the Compass Building on our left. And so we're looking at 3 parcels. along Center Avenue that we selected for our particular project. And it is we can go to the next slide. It is a 4-story mixed use building with commercial on the first floor and residences on the second, third, and fourth floor. And we'll show you what those floor plans look like in a minute. On the left, you see the Compass building here. And on the right, you see part of the Carnegie Library. Our architect on this particular project is Gerard Winston. And as we conceptualize what this project would look like, we tried to draw some characteristics from both buildings on either side. And so you can see the color somewhat matching here, and the color somewhat matching here, with a facade that captures the rest of the building. And so once again, it's a 4-story building. We have commercial on this side. We have residential on this side. Many of you will know this site on the right-hand side as the former African Queen, which has sat vacated for some 30, 40 years on Center Avenue. So let's go to the next slide, please. So one of the things we certainly wanted to capture was the alignment. Are you doing this part? Yeah. I'll switch to Jim, and he'll tell you about this part aligning with the master.
Thank you, sir. So in looking to develop this site, we want to make sure we align with the goals of the community, and including in that, we align with the Center of Opportunity card plan in 2 ways, at least 2 ways. Specifically, our building seeks to develop this vacant and underutilized space between the Compass building and the library, which will serve as an infill multi-use building, multi-use being mixed-use commercial and residential, infilling that sort of empty spot between 2 buildings in use in the community. And in addition to that, we are providing a small, sorry, can you hear me okay? Sure, sorry about that. So the other way that we align with the Center of Opportunity card plan is by our commercial space is a smaller space, and we envision it as serving the needs of a startup or an entrepreneur looking to get into their first commercial space that they could kickstart their business with a storefront, not too big, but just the perfect space for a small business just starting out, which aligns with the path to success portion of the card plan. So in addition to aligning with the card plan in those ways, we also align with the Greater Hill District Master Plan. Again, there will be no displacement of residents. This is a development that is working with vacant parcels, underutilized parcels, so that our project will have no displacement of residents. And in addition, you can see here a short list of potential commercial tenants that could be well served by the commercial space that we will be providing on the ground level floor. So here, speaking of the ground level floor, is our first floor plan. On the left, you can see the small commercial space, just over 1,600 square feet. And on the right is the entrance to the residential space, which you access through the residential lobby. And then there's one elevator serving the upper floors. And you can see there are separate entrances off Center Ave, as well as separate egress off the north side of the project site onto Humber Way. Separate entrances serving the commercial space and serving the residential space. I should note here that the residential lobby, the front right portion of the building, we envision featuring an art installation honoring the musical heritage of the neighborhood, as well as the heritage of the African Queen building that previously occupied this site. And I will note that for this development activities meeting that we are presenting to you right now, we are seeking some city planning variances, including building height, parking, and setback variances. Here's the typical residential floor plan. Again, the previous plan was the ground floor, and then there'll be 3 sort of carbon copy stories of residences above, with on each floor 3 one-bedroom apartments and 1 two-bedroom apartment. The 2-bedroom is the bottom left on the plan, as the Reverend is pointing to. Square foot, it may be a little difficult to see. Yeah. And again, we do have an elevator serving every floor, as well as 2 stairways for egress and access to the residences. So I mentioned previously we are seeking a variance for parking. I'll go back to so we provide 3 spaces of parking on the back end off Humber Way, but we also have a agreement with Central Baptist Church to utilize some of their parking, which is just across Kirkpatrick Street, 350 feet from our front door to ADA accessible entrance to the parking lot. And this is oh, sure, certainly.
Three-quarter rule, and we have 3 parking spaces at the rear of our building, and we're also providing 4 bike, whatever you call them, places in the back of the building. And so we're only required to have, for 12 residences, we're required to have 12 parking spaces, but we have 3 in the back, and we have 7 at Central Baptist's parking lot, giving us 10. So we actually have more than we need, because the 4 bike racks count as parking spaces. And so I wanted to make that note, but we're going to request a variance for our parking.
So this is our project summary of our project. Can you hear me okay? No? I don't want to mess with. Can you turn me up a little bit? Is that okay? Can people hear me now? Great, excellent. Sorry about that. So here's our project information. All of our residential units will serve lower income residents, including we will have 5 one-bedroom units available for 50% AMI or below, 3 two-bedroom units available for 50% AMI or below, 4 one-bedroom units for 80% AMI or below. And I'll note that of those 50% AMI that I mentioned, of those 8 units, 3 will be available for 30% AMI or below. And we currently have committed to at least 2 units of ADA fully compliant residences, with the option to increase those depending on the needs of our specific residents who join, who decide to live in our building.
Right here to say that we have 4 profiles of people that we're looking to put in the building: senior citizens, veterans, handicap accessible, and there's a need for young men and women who have aged out of foster care. And there's a population of those men and women, young men and women, who don't have a place to live. And so we are looking to partner with one of several foster care agencies who can place people in the building. So those 4 categories, I'll come back to you at the end if you don't mind. Thank you. We'll be working to place in the building. We also have 12 project-based vouchers from the Housing Authority that will be able to give to the residents who are residing in the building to make the load a little bit financially easier for them to be housed in our building. Something else, I think that's it.
Now's also a good time to mention. So as I mentioned, all of our units will be going to 80% AMI or below residents. But in order for the accounting to work, we need to provide all 12 of those units, which means this is where our building height variance request comes into play. To fit all 12 of those units into our building, we need to have those 3 stories of residential for a total of 4 stories of 4-story tall building. So that's why we're asking for that height variance to fit all 12 of those affordable units into our building.
And actually, the height of the building is not going to be any higher than any of the other buildings that are currently on Center Avenue. It's about the same approximate height as New Granada Square, except New Granada Square is on a slight incline. But if you were to level it out, they would be the exact same height. But because our building is further up Center Avenue, it will look like it's higher, and we'll show that shortly. No, yeah, whenever we get that, we'll show you that. But I just wanted to make you aware that our building is maybe from the top of the windows to either side, almost to the ceiling, but not much higher than that in terms of the Compass building. And well, it is taller than the Hill District Library. This is our project budget. This is about a $5.3 million project. We are being financed by First National Bank to almost a tune of almost $1 million. We have a second mortgage with the URA. We have a gap financing from the Housing Authority City of Pittsburgh. We've applied for what is called an ACRE loan, which is a long-term loan with hardly any interest until you get about to the 20-year mark. We applied to the Federal Home Loan Bank for a housing opportunity program and we received a grant for $750,000. We have targeted several foundations. We're probably halfway through the $483,000 that we need. We're not sure about the LRTA, but we're going to ask the LRTA for a $250,000 grant for this particular project. Hill Community Growth Fund for $80,000. We have already in hand $70,000 pre-development funds that we continue to use. And we have a starter grant from Bridgeway Capital, deferred developer fee for $70,000 for a total of about $5,330,000 plus or minus, which meets all of our needs over here. So I think we're getting a
little pressed on time.
Yeah,
thank you for your patience.
Yes. So So we do, because of the federal home loan grant that we received, we are required to provide our residents with support, and we're certainly willing to do that, including having a tenant council of the 12 residents. We will facilitate it by hiring someone to actually work with our residents day in and day out if necessary, but certainly that person will come to the building and work with residents as needed. We certainly are within the hiring guidelines. Our goal was 30% MWBE and 15% WBE. We are utilizing as our general contractor Waller Corporation, which is MBE. Gerard Winston is our architect, and Cosmos Technologies is our MBE civil engineer, all MBEs. And so we're excited about this project. We hope that we can get your support. We need your support to meet our timeline. We hope to be in the ground with this project at the latest at the end of this year, 22. If not, we'll be in the ground, hopefully, by first quarter 2023. Now, this young lady had a question. Yes. That's for the residents, though. That's for the, yeah. So we hope to have some residents from who have aged out of foster care become residents in the building for this building.
And how many apartments are there?
12.
12. Okay, that's what I was saying. You right?
I think this is a marvelous and a wonderful program, much needed.
Thank you.
Needed beyond just 12 apartments. I wish there was a way for you to facilitate, multiply this throughout the Hill District, because this is exactly what is needed because of the rates of the rent, percentage of the rents. And a lot of people, it seems to be it would help many people because this is what we need in the Hill for people that are below the medium income rate. So this would be a wonderful, marvelous program.
Thank you so much.
If it were duplicated and you had like 100 residents or something, not just 12.
Well, my board snatches me back when I get too enthusiastic about going to building number 2. They say, finish this one first and we'll think about it. Thank you so much. We appreciate that and we need your support. Yes, Bonnie, Dr. Bonnie. It depends. All of the apartments will be under 80% AM. What do you mean? What is that number? I'm not sure what that's dollar amount. And so if you're talking 50% AMI, you're talking about 50% of that particular person's income. What do you mean? Oh, that you have to go on the federal one. What was that, Marimba? I'm sorry. Yes, okay.
Anyone who speaks, can you please use the microphone? Because we're streaming too, so they can't hear you if you're not using the microphone.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so basically it's about $30-some thousand a year, but you have some subsidies that can help support that, because you talked about the project-based Section 8.
Project-based vouchers, correct.
Vouchers, sorry. And my other thing was to think about, maybe I'm being self-serving. I am being self-serving, I'm gonna say it. I got kids graduating from college that were born and raised in the Hill, can't afford rent here. I know that Reverend Grayson is serving kids from this neighborhood that are about to graduate from college. And maybe not in this project, but maybe to Ms. Ka's point on your next one, I'm deciding y'all gonna have a next one, that somebody starts to think about that population so that we can grow our potential homeowners and bring our people back. They can invest in businesses, so on and so forth. So if it's not possible here, but that's another possible group of people to be served by your project.
Certainly open to that, most definitely. I get tired of seeing our talent leave Pittsburgh and leave the inner urban city and go out into McKeesport and Fox Chapel and take their talents with them, but that's a whole nother thing. Yes, I know.
So looking at your numbers, your developer fee, it's like 70,000 for a $5 million plus project. That seemed like it's only like a little over 1%. Why is your developer fee so low?
Because that's the deferred developer's fee. So we're putting some of our developer fee back into the project to make the project work.
Okay. Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Want to thank you for being so patient and listening to us. We really need your support on this project. We really need to go to zoning to keep on the timeline so that we can meet our goal of being in the ground by third quarter, fourth quarter, 2022. Thank you so much. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Reverend Walls. And I'm sorry, I missed the other gentleman's name. Jim Palmer, thank you. And thank you to the TREC team and Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh very much. Very exciting to see developments coming to our neighborhood and the opportunity for community members to vote on what they want to see. And to that point, please complete your scorecard now for the Amani Christian Community Development Project on Center Avenue, 1 being highly favorable, 5 being less than favorable, and you may also make other commentary. If you'd like for somebody to pick up your scorecard, if you're a Hill District resident, we're happy to do that. Just raise your hand and we will make sure that your ballot is collected. All right. So now is the time for Q&A. We will start with Kimberly Ellis, who wanted to make some comments. And so Ricky or TJ, if you could take the mic. Kim, you can, yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
Good
let me
evening,
just say
everybody.
let me just say this
Sure.
in the interest of time, we're gonna keep the comments to three minutes
list.
tops.
I made a list 'cause I
Okay,
know.
but 3 minutes.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. For those who don't know me, I am a 40-year resident of the Hill District. I live on Bedford Avenue. Don't come by my house. I am also the co-creator of the Build the Hill conference with the Hill CDC. I'm the founder of the Historic Hill Institute. I created the first historic preservation program in the Historic Hill District. I've done a number of different things like coined the term Historic Hill District. Now that's a very common thing. You hear Historic Hill District all the time. I did that. And I'm claiming that tonight because I want you to understand who I am. Yes, I'm also August Wilson's niece, but most importantly, I'm Frida Ellis's daughter. Very proud to be here. And I run a business called A Trip Off the Old Block, and I took Marimba Malians to Ghana. So one of the issues that I've had with the Hill CDC and Marimba's leadership in particular is that there's just too much misinformation. I really respect the Historic Hill residents, and I was just, to be honest, surprised, shocked, and disappointed by what I was seeing. So yes, I do work for Buccini Poland Group, which is the current developer of the Lower Hill, and I'll stand here before you and say I'm very proud to work for that company because of the type of company that they are. I researched them before I said yes. I also work with my brother and friend, Bomani House. He is the vice president of development here in Pittsburgh for Buccini Poland Group. Why is that important? Because Bomani grew up on Reed and Roberts. I grew up on Bedford Avenue. I grew up dancing at Ammon Recreation Center, and guess what? You're sitting in the building that was my first job. I worked right here when I was 16 years old. I served lunch to grade school kids out of that kitchen when it was Ozanam Cultural Center. And I'm very proud that today is the Jerron X. Grayson Center. The reason why that's so important is because it's not fair and it's not right for anybody to try to paint me as any kind of sellout, any kind of person that's not interested in both the historic preservation and the development of the Hill District. So you heard Marimba say, well, this is the LRTA. And the developer, they cheated the Hill District, literally, out of $313 million.
1 minute.
So the lower, I'm aware that you want to shut me up, and I'm okay with that, Marimba, but I'm going to run down this list. Because you're continuing, Marimba, I'm going to finish this list. Thank you so much.
1 minute.
So you heard Marimba say that the developer didn't give but $7.18 million, but she never told you why. And the reason why is because the LRTA was initially supposed to be a 10-year loan, stretching over the course of 10 years. The community, and especially Marimba, said, we want the money now, which is a smart move. I'm not mad. Smart move. But when you do that, what happened is it caused, you had to now be with a bank. You had to put it in a place where you had to get interest. There's all this confusing financial stuff, and I'm not the math wizard, but I'm just telling you that the reason why the LRTA is a little bit less and why they promised the $313 million is because the community demanded most of the money up front. The community said, we don't want a 10-year loan right now. We got to start with something, and that's what happened. So Buccini Poland Group gave that $7.18 million. And you heard Reverend Walls just say, we're going to ask the LRTA for the $250 to complete our project. That's why it's important. It's important to make liquid cash. So there are other things that Marimba also didn't mention. And it's just important because Marimba is a part of what's called the Executive Management Committee. Marimba hears our reports every single month. She knows what we do. She knows what's going on, but she didn't put any of that in the presentation. So they're about to cut my mic. So I just want to run down. Listen, I'm used to it. So I just want you all to know that we are at $40 million of MWBE commitments. I'm sorry, not commitments, real contracts. And we are at almost 2% of completion of the work. $40 million have already gone to minority and women's businesses. Nobody has that record in the city, and we doubt that anybody has that record in the country. We also have the creation of the First Source Center. Those who don't know about the First Source Center, those who are from the Hill know about the First Source Center. You know that failed, right? We have a 10-year commitment, minimum 10-year commitment to the First Source Center. We are the ones getting teenagers, 18-year-olds, I'm not allowed to say their salaries, but between $35,000 to $50,000. We're doing that. We're the ones that had the most successful job fair right here at the Hill House, 200 registrants. We connected Wiley Avenue. That was a demand. That was one of my demands, right? The reason why the design looks the way it does, the reason why you can go all the way down Wiley Avenue, all the way through the development, because most private developments will close up and say you're not allowed in. The community demanded the reconnection of Wiley Avenue. Now you can go all the way through. Claim your wins, people, claim your wins. We also have a local arts program where the urban open space is going to be built largely by these local artists. We've already engaged Arts in HD twice already, and we're going to have a program this summer. The reason why that's important is because I forgot to mention, I'm also one of the co-creators of what is now the Frankie May Pace Park. That's the former CAP Park. And here's the thing about it. It was community demands that got me that job. I'm not too proud to say Marimba is one of the persons that helped me get that job. Justin Lang is one of the persons to help me get that job. Terry Baltimore. What I'm saying is the Hill District said, we want local artists. We demand local artists work on that neighborhood park because you're getting it for $18 million. And because of that, I worked on the park. Baba Amir worked on the park. Daryl Kinzel worked on the park, and Lakeisha Bird worked on the park. I'm very proud of that. And we made it unapologetically Black, proudly Black. It's a neighborhood park. And so the great work that we did And I named it, quite frankly, the Frankie Mae Pace Park, and I wrote the history walls and introduced you to Keisha. Why is that important? Thank you, Gil. I appreciate that. Why is that important? Because we did such a fantastic job. David Morehouse of the Penn said, whoa, like, I didn't know y'all were gonna do all that. Can you do it across the street? And we said yes. That's part of the reason why they hired me, because I'm an artist and I'm a historian. And as a historian, I'm not a propagandist. I'm not gonna erase people's history. I'm not gonna erase what has been done, but I'm also not gonna sit up here and let anybody bash the project, bash what we're doing, and misrepresent to you. So if you wanna know more, please go to our website, lowerhillredevelopment.com. And we are Lower Hill Redevelopment on all social media. I'm very proud to work for Buccini Poland Group, and I'm gonna continue to be proud to work here in the Historic Hill District for you, for the residents, and the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you all very much.
Do we have any additional comments or questions? This woman here. Hold on.
I live at 2045 Wiley Avenue. And I mean, there's so much work that needs to be done, so many repairs. That place is falling apart. And we do not have a maintenance person. If you call to get something fixed, you might not hear from someone until 2 weeks later. The rails where you come into your house, the paint has been chipping for years. Okay, the cement steps, they're crumbling. You know, and right now, I've been having problems with my hot water tank for like 3 weeks. Okay, Janine brought this. Well, this guy came and looked at it, and he flipped up the switch. He flipped up that little gray lever piece, and then after that, it was drip, 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 drip. Water's scalding hot.
Okay.
And then the hot water tank was sort of making hissing noise. I'm like, oh my God, I got scared. So I'm like, I'm just going to shut it off. Because I had this happen to me years ago. So anyway, I had talked to Janine. Janine said that she was going to send another guy out. The other plumber came. Okay, so another plumber came to my house, and I guess he couldn't finish the job because no one was going to pay him. He told me I needed a regulator. Okay, that was 2 weeks ago. This has been going on for the past almost month.
Okay.
And I have been a tenant there since 2004. I've been there for like 18 years. I mean, this is ridiculous. When Shirley Scott had that property, we did not have these issues. And it doesn't make sense that I have to keep calling and begging for things to get done. And I have been down there to your office before. Like, this is ridiculous. The grass is almost up to this chair. We don't even have anyone to cut the grass. I had to take some shears and get out there. And then I have painted like 6 doors in my row. I paint the doors because nothing is getting done.
Okay. So there's a piece of paper there. If you could leave your personal phone number and your address for me, please.
Yeah.
And leave it up here, please.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
I will be in touch with you tomorrow.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Are there any other? Yes.
I'm excited about the development of the 40 parking and the 40 and 12 and the urban food. Give a sense of the number of new residents we'll have in the hill. The infill filling of those. We have so when I ride down now where your building's going up, it's a complete block. It's exciting to see a complete block filled out. And that's what we need to look forward to, filling all these infills up. But you have a sense of proposed numbers, at least on Center Avenue, or at least around. I know Rose Street is 4.
So it would be approximately 60 new residents coming to Center Avenue when you think about the New Granada Square project, Rose Street development, E Holdings development, Reverend Walls, development, as well as Big Tom's, which has housing as well. So we're talking between 60 and 70 new
Okay.
units to Center Avenue, and I do think that that is a
That's
major
fantastic.
win.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Hold on, here comes the mic.
Concerning the new Granada designs, I would like to just explain something so you can kind of understand Mabutu's concern. See, I worked diligently on on that design. It was designed with the kente cloth in mind, also jazz. The first time I cut out all the little squares out of Color Aid paper. I mean, I worked days on this project. And when I see it in the website, it said I contributed to the design. I really created it. So I would just like for you to give me my due diligence. That's all. Because I wasn't paid that much.
I hear you,
I wasn't paid that much, really. It was my fault. And I just would like, in the lieu of payment, I would just like to have some glory for it. I don't get that.
So, no, there was payment. There was payment. There was payment.
I didn't get much payment I was underpaid. I really was underpaid. But I thought I was helping. Foolishly. But anyway, just please it now. Yes.
Miss
more
Charlotte.
payment and give me some glory.
So the payment has been received, but the glory, the signage, the signage.
Say how much, but you know that it wasn't enough. You know that. For the amount of money that
I hear you.
$6,000 for doing that. You know that wasn't enough for some of a millions of dollars project, and I did it out of the. I thought I was helping, but I don't want to be taking advantage of it either. So that's all I have to say, Miriam. I love you.
I love you
But
too.
I just want you just give me
You will have. Trust me. We have.
have what?
As I mentioned, we will put signage on center. We will put signage on center.
We talk about little money now.
Okay, well we can't renegotiate your contract in the room, Miss Charlotte. But we can talk about it. I mean, we can't renegotiate the contract, Miss Charlotte. But what I can do is give you a call and talk to you about what you would like to see, Miss Charlotte. I mean, we were very transparent about what our budget was. Quite frankly, just so everybody understands, because since we're airing business in public spaces now, I want to be sure everybody knows what's going on. So we were really far along in the design process, about to really begin building. And to be honest, I was just like, I feel like this building needs more soul. It just wasn't representative of what I thought the Hill District was deserving of. And so I reached out to Miss Charlotte and I said, Miss Charlotte, we have a limited budget, but I'd like to hire you to, participate. I'd like to hire you to participate. And so we did that. And so we have recognized, you in a lot of presentations, some of which you probably don't even know, in international spaces, to be honest. But it doesn't matter, because if it doesn't sit right in the heart, it's not right. So I'm going to reach out to you, Miss Charlotte. I can't promise extra money because there are limited resources, right? But I can talk to you about what would feel right in your soul, and we can work from there. How's that? Can we work from there? Can we work from there? Can we work from there? We got to have a starting place. Can we work from there? I said, we got to have a starting place. I will reach out to you and we can talk about what sits right in your soul, and then we can talk about it from there in terms of what you want to see, okay? I can't make any promises. I want to be on record saying I can't make promises, but I will try. I can't. Not right now. Yeah, I know that's the narrative. But let me explain something to you, because I do sense that right now we're in this space where everybody's like under the perception that there's so much money, right? There's so much money that is available for either nonprofit developers or even small businesses. And I want to say that there is more money than there has been in a long time, but there are budgets, right? And so we have advocated for small businesses. We've advocated for your business to get money, which it has as a result of our advocacy, as well as a number of businesses, right? So we do that on a regular basis. But it does take money to do this work. So the $60 million New Granada Square project, that's how much it costs to build. That's how much it costs to design. That's how much it costs to buy the materials, right? And so with that, I'm going to move forward, but I will be in touch, Ms. Charlotte. Are there any more questions or comments?
Do you think there could be a meeting at some point about the LRTA to clear up a lot of misperceptions and to advance the application for the LRTA?
So the LRTA is actually, the application can't be released until the allocation plan is done, and RB with the consensus group is really working on that.
I sent an application probably a month and a half ago.
To what?
There's a draft application I sent to RB.
No. Well, I can't speak for RB. You have to talk to him about that. But what I can speak to is the process that the committee is undergoing. So right now there's an allocation plan that is being created. There is no application open at all.
From a process from another city, so I'm confused. So it would be great to have a meeting where those kind of things could be clarified. What's the timeline? You have projects that are sitting on the table that people have acknowledged.
Again, the LRTA is controlled by the URA at this stage, and the advisory committee is governing that process to a degree. So with that said, there is no application open. There is not going to be an application open until there's an allocation plan. So that allocation plan is being worked on by RB and Councilman Lavelle right now, so that we can determine how the fund will be spent. Once that allocation plan is completed, then I believe you're going to see the applications follow that. Okay, well, I'm glad I could share it. Okay. And by all means, I mean, lots of folks can, you mean in terms of her allocation plan?
No, that there's some problem with information, so it'd be great to have a meeting where things could be clarified.
Who do you want the meeting with? Because we have a committee meeting.
You all chair the committee?
No, I'm a co-chair. I am a co-chair, but there are many committee members, and we have.
Co-chairs call meetings.
No. So my question, Bonnie, is who do you want the meeting with?
Whoever can answer the questions, and could the CDC call for the meeting, invite the relevant parties, because you know better than anybody else who needs to be there. But it seems to me, given kind of the presentation that we heard tonight, that a meeting about the LRTA and how people get access to the money, companies get access to the money, needs to be put forward as soon as possible.
Right. So the Hill CDC is not going to preempt the advisory committee. So no, we will not be convening it, but the advisory committee, you have Reverend Grayson, you have Kimberly Ellis, you have RB Bankston representing the consensus group, and a number of other committee members who have a public meeting. So no, Hill CDC will not be preempting that meeting. The committee itself can call that meeting.
To push the committee to ratify this, because it's just been in arbitration too long. So I think the pressure could come from the community, because everyone is asking the same question.
Agreed.
So I put it on. It's not the Hill CDC is not in charge of it. We should put the pressure on the committee.
Yes.
We should put from RB to Daniel to the co-chair to all the committee people, because it's long overdue. That's what I said a while ago. I'm on the committee, but there's no write a good letter, put the pressure on you to make this happen.
So it's not necessarily, but let me tell you what the Hill CDC did do. The Hill CDC actually provided an allocation plan to the committee, but the committee wanted a different allocation plan. So the Hill CDC told the committee, go forth and do that work. We are here to support it however you choose, but we have received nothing in terms of a draft back. right? And so there is no allocation plan, and that is why there's no application. We provided an allocation plan probably about a year ago at this stage.
It's time for pressure.
Yeah, but the Hill CDC secured the money, right? The Hill CDC secured the money, and then that for the whole community, right? And that money is at the URA, resting in the trust of the URA. And that is governed by an advisory committee, of which I serve as co-chair, and which I provided an allocation plan. And the committee said, we would like to see a different allocation plan. At which stage we said, please provide us with the allocation plan you suggest. And that is why things are a little slow right now. But I do suggest a little pressure. I just think that maybe having a conversation with some of the other committee members, because we've provided the allocation plan. Yes, Gil.
Real quick, did the CDC get their percentage of the LARTA?
We did get our percentage. We get 4%.
So if the CDC percentage was held up until the allocation plan and application was done, you think there would be more focus on getting it done?
It would depend on that per se, but I don't want to get into hypotheticals.
Okay.
Yeah. You have another question?
No, thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. And the reason why the Hill CDC received funding is because the Hill CDC secured the Hill CDC secured the LRTA for the community, right? So there is support that comes to the Hill CDC. Any other questions? We don't have 7.8. That's at the URA, and it's the advisory committee. But did you give your information? Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Okay, I think we have our final question here for tonight.
Hi.
Oh, we have two more.
So speaking about the New Granada Apartments, I know that they're going toward artists, and I can't remember the other two type of categories of people that they're going to. But what are the requirements needed? Like if you're a one person and you like a 2-bedroom apartment because of the studio or et cetera, could someone elaborate on that? Just because I'm wondering.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Can you repeat that?
What are the requirements for the New Granada Apartments? Like, say if I'm a one person, but I would like a 2-bedroom because I have a studio.
Yes.
I don't know if that's allowed, or I just would like to know the requirements.
So it is affordable housing for artists and creatives. So that's the preference. It will not be completely off limits to others, but the preference is artists and creatives who are below 80% of the area median income. Okay. And is it possible for someone to get quote unquote overhoused? Everything's possible, but I can tell you with the tremendous amount of need for housing in the Hill District and throughout the city, it's not likely that someone who only needs 1 bedroom would get 2.
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. Reverend Walls. Last question. This is a marathon.
Two things. For a lot of things to happen in this community, we really have to hold our political representatives accountable.
Correct.
Banks will not respond to our projects unless we get in this town, unless we get pressure from our political representatives to do that. And it's time for this community to really advocate for itself. Lastly, I love the Bible. And one of the things that the Bible says is a house divided cannot stand. We got to find a way to bridge our differences. We got to get past all of our differences and find a way to really pull together to change our community. Because I'm going to Florida, but I'd like to see some change before I go. Amen.
Amen. Hold on.
Very intimidating, and I will continue to keep coming.
But
seriously,
put your mic up.
I'm sorry. As a person who's new to these meetings, it's very intimidating to come to a meeting and all this happening. I'm still keep coming, but
I appreciate that.
It is important for everyone to at least be on the same page and not be bickering at the meeting where people are trying to get information.
Yes, I completely agree, and I thank you for that. And Hill CDC will continue. I do want to recognize Mr. Hubbard, who is here on behalf of Mayor Gainey's office. He has a question. So if you could get him the mic or a comment, we do want to recognize that. And we want to see increased collaboration. We are very much committed to it, and we will work with folks to whatever extent possible within reason.
I just want to say good evening to everyone, but it's Mr. Eel. Hubbard's my middle name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Hello.
It's all right. I get it all the time. I enjoy being here this evening. Just want to let you know that the administration certainly has this interest, and we'll be coming back. We have a neighborhood service department that will be coming out to your meetings and will be more visible here with the CDC and other groups on the Hill. Good to see everybody. Dr.
Thank
Kim,
you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for being here. Please send our regards to Mayor Gainey. All right. And with that, I think it's a wrap. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Don't forget to leave your ballots.